Okay, right now we're actually live on YouTube, which is that they now getting the full thing on YouTube. This is for those, y'all know how it is. Y'all, we got folks that they don't do Facebook, so they gotta be on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna give them something, okay? All right.
Will you get this one at the same
Everything in here.
is this 30 minutes or an hour?
That's 30 minutes. That's what I be telling folks when they want to get long-winded. Look in on, don't let me have to turn the time on.
No, listen, I got the funny part about it, what made me ask about it is because this is the first time I've seen one with black sand in it.
That's why I bought it. They had one in there with white sand in it.
And mine got white sand in it.
Okay.
And this is how I be. Like for real, in my office, man, look, and like people don't know that's like my work style.
Mm-hmm.
I do 30-minute increments.
Yeah, that's why that was a 30, like 30 minute, you know.
And I've learned how to allow it just to take its course so I can get my 30 minutes. Because sometimes I used to see it and it'd be almost out. I flip that thing over and I'm like, oh man, no, I'm cheating myself. That's cool. I love your marketing piece. Look, I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, that's that old school thing.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bryan Foley, host of Ear to the Ground 197. And I'm in here grooving right now to my theme song, All Power to the People and everything. You know, I'm a little lethargic, a little slow, you know what I mean? My head is still a little cobweb, not for none of them substances, because y'all don't know how, you know, I don't get on like that. But the point, I was at the jazz concert all night and everything, setting it up, taking it down and stuff like that, and I'm a little slow. But good morning, I see you out there, Sister Tracy, early this morning. We like everybody to put into the comment box, why one? Then we like for you to like this. Then we like for you to share that. And you know why I asked him to do that, bro?
Talk to me.
Because I believe in Ypsilanti first.
That's real.
But anyway, by the way, I got in here my newfound brother, and I mean that in all sincerity, Ray Winans.
Likewise.
Ray Winans. And if y'all didn't know him, y'all get ready to meet a very prolific, dynamic, spiritually rooted person who loves the community and culture. And I'm gonna let him tell his own story, right? He was kind of like a legend.
Okay.
He kind of like Bigfoot, you know. He existed, everybody said they seen him, but I ain't never seen him, right?
We in the
But
forest,
I met the brother 3-4 days ago for the first time. And Billy, my partner in Supreme Fellows Incorporated, have been telling me about this brother by the name of Ray Winans, and they took us out at a Airbnb.
Yeah.
Hey, look, fed us good. I'm gonna put it out there, okay?
Put it on the floor then. Put it on the floor.
I'm put it on the floor. They fed us lobster tail, steak, New York strip steak, not that one you get from Kroger's. I'm talking about that big motherfucker, right? Shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp
and broccoli.
And broccoli.
And then we sat outside and we chopped it up around the fire.
For real.
Good brother Ray Winans. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I mean, if I had to put it in one word, it is, phenomenal.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna limit myself, man. I'm blessed, I'm grateful. I'm stress-free, no worries, no pressure, no stress. And I'm honored, man. Like for real. You know, I'm thankful. You know, and so thank you for even inviting me, man. You know, like it was interesting because when you sent the invite, I've gotten to the habit of not responding to things as quick and saying, give me 24 to 48 hours.
Right.
If we would have had 24 to 48 hours, then we would have missed the podcast. Right. But after vibing with you, man, and really just like literally the thing that really drew me and like really allowed my heart to be hooked by you is when we asked a question by the young man, by my young guy, Kenny B. And when Kenny B asked the question about how do we heal, and we gave that breakdown, most people lie, man, and try to come up with their philosophy, right? And you was just straight up like, bruh, I really don't know, because I'm looking for the answer too.
Right.
And when I hear you say, I don't know, I say, man, it's a real.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's okay, you know, and that's what the young guys be needing to hear from us. It's, bruh, we don't know.
We don't know.
We like, damn, they asking us questions that we don't know the answers to. Right. So now we can go on this journey together and find out.
You know, but I heard some of the brothers' experiences, man, and they was very enlightening. Because like you heard me talk, man, you know, and we was talking, you know, I come from a 2-parent home.
Yeah.
And we was talking the other night, we was talking about cats who was in the game and those who was around the game.
Yeah.
I was around the periphery of the game just enough to learn the lingo and the language and how it ran.
Exactly.
But some of the cats that you function with was actually in the game.
Yeah.
For real. We do a lot of big talking. I'm gonna sit up and tell you, you get what I'm saying? I got caught up in the whirlwind and the fanfare and the lights. You get what I mean?
No, that's real.
But I wasn't really out here making no moves, man. I was out here in the way.
No,
you know what I mean?
But you know what? That's and I think that's the difference. Yeah. Right. Is when you acknowledge that, man. Right. Like I tell people all the time, I come from it, right? Like when I found out, like it was another side of life. Right. It's legit, man. This the good man. This man, look, man. It's good over here, right? Like, but and so when I hear guys be talking to me and they trying to tell me about, and I'm like, bro, you really wasn't in the streets. Like, and then I be having to tell guys like, man, you might have been a good hustler, right? But you really wasn't into the streets.
In the streets.
Right? Like it's a big difference when you're entrenched in them streets. And I tell guys this, man, like even with my wife, because like that's what gravitated me to my wife, and shout out to my wife and my cameraman Rock. You know, I appreciate y'all.
Got some folks in the studio, and we can't forget about that.
Yeah, you know, my wife, man, who believed in me since the beginning, and then my guy Rock. But like I tell her all the time, the thing that made me marry her was the fact that I asked her the honest questions. Right. You ain't never had drugs stashed in your house? She like, no. I'm like, you ain't never dated a drug dealer? She like, no. I'm like, your house ain't never been raised. She like, no. I'm like, oh no, you mean tell me you just went to school, graduated? I'm like, so you're not
she a square, bro.
Straight square, okay. Right? And I say, oh, okay, cool, let's go, right? Because I knew what came with the game, right? And I'm like, I ain't signing up for that. I know what I want, and if I gotta come with something that I done already had to come with the game, then I'm like, man, I ain't gonna last long, because it don't work like that. You know, it's like I'm gonna have to charge her to the game because I got her from the game. Right. And I think that's the issue. A lot of people don't know how to charge it to the game. Right. You know, and it's like you ain't charging to the game because you really don't know the game. You really don't know the
game. But check this out, y'all. I'm with this, like I said, my newfound brother. I mean that in all sincerity, you know. Because it don't take me all day to figure no brother out. No. That's one thing I do have is a gift of discernment, you know, because you're doing them hand to hand. You ain't got no time to figure out whether he the hook or not. He's ready to rob. You got to be able to pick that up a minute.
For real.
And I know you were genuine, but dig this here. So Ray Winans was a co-founder of a group here, group in Detroit who has came here called D-Live. And he's also the founder of co-founder initiative of Ceasefire Detroit.
Yeah, did the implementation of Operation Ceasefire, co-founded D-Live, and founder of what all them bodies of work have encompassed through my experience. And now my wife and I started Detroit Friends and Family at the end after all these experiences, man.
Yeah. Well, dig this here. Derek said he glad we're together. Derek was out in California. I think he was in San Francisco.
But man, you know what? So shout out to Derek. And that's one of the reasons why I had to be here for the whole week, because I knew Derek was gone, right? And so like in our partnership, man, our relationship, Derek a real solid guy.
Yeah, he is.
And he like, bro, like, Ray, I'm gonna be out of town. What's up? I'm like, man, I'm gonna be in Ipsy. If you gone, I'm gonna tee up in Ipsy, man. I'm like, I owe that to Ipsy. I need to get the feel of Ipsy. Yeah. Had that not happened, we wouldn't be here right now, Bryan.
But y'all was way over on the far side of Atlanta with them rich white folks. I know where you're at.
Listen, but it's like somebody being from the D. If you ain't from the D and then you stay in Warren, and you like, man, you Google hotels in Warren, or no, hotels in Detroit, and then they sing somewhere in Warren. You like, oh, I'm in the D. Right. I ain't from MC, so I'm like, oh, we in there. So they like, yeah, Red Squad. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Look up in here, y'all like, nah, dog. This ain't all. This ain't it. Then that's how I be on people like, nah, that ain't Detroit. You was over there
when me and Billy pulled up. Folks were standing out on the sidewalk trying to figure out what I was doing
over here. Oh yeah, it's vicious too, man. I seen it. I was like, oh yeah, they vicious.
Yeah. Derek said that's how we roll things. We talking about the way you just don't know who's coming. We talking about Derek Jackson, the director of community engagement for the Washington County.
Yeah, phenomenal guy, man, and really genuinely care about the lives of these young people, man.
Do. Yeah,
like for real, he genuinely gives a damn. Right. I mean, like, and he take it personal.
Yeah, he do.
He take it personal.
You ever seen the book he got?
Listen, we talked. Remember, we talked about the book.
Yeah, right.
Remember, we talked about this about putting up faces with the names.
Derek, we gonna get with you afterwards. Yeah. Man. Answer the phone, man, so we can put the faces to the name.
Yeah, man, we got work to do.
Yeah, we got work to do. But dig this here, man, because we want to involve Detroit Friends and Family.
Yes, sir.
But bring us up to speed. Tell us, folks, what D-Live is about and what it can encompass and how it functions and stuff. Okay.
So when we D-Live was the state's first hospital-based violence intervention program, right? And so it was I was at the time I was with Operation Ceasefire, right? And so during Operation Ceasefire, I was blessed and fortunate. It's a city-ran program at the time with about a former deputy mayor and former U.S. federal prosecutor, Saul Green. And so they had this model. And so I'm gonna just give you a quick history on the two models, the difference between the two models, and then how Detroit Friends and Families was birthed. And so serving in the capacity, they had this idea of community and law enforcement being able to actually work together to solve for community-based violence, with the notion of being able to have people with lived experiences, right? Whether you was a shooter, whether you had been shot, whether you had been incarcerated, to actually come on board as staff and deal with what they called as credible messengers, right? Folks with lived experiences. So I come on board for this Operation Ceasefire piece, and it involved law enforcement. So it was like a hell of a traumatic experience for me early on, because again, I come from the streets. You don't deal with the police, you don't talk to the police, police arrest you. After sitting down with Saul, and I seen this man cry, man, like, I'm tired of people suffering. So I'm like, I take the position, right? And I did it openly. It wasn't even grudgingly, because I felt his heart, I felt his spirit. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take the position. Did the implementation on the east side of Detroit, primarily in the 48205 and 48224. And so we had this big, bold, audacious idea and vision that, hey, we can go into the community and actually work hand in hand with law enforcement and the community. Well, when we did that, early on, it was pushed back from community. Like, man, hell no, bro. Red, you can't just be working with the police, man. I'm like, man, y'all know I ain't no rat. I ain't did nothing, and they like, man, we get it, man, but the police, bro, that's kind of scary. Then you coming with them, man, it's 10, 15 of y'all. And I'm like, bro, listen, so me being who it is that I am, I'm a businessman, bro, I work and negotiate. Had a clear understanding with the guys from the Detroit Police Department that I was working with. If y'all call me, that means ain't nobody going to jail. right? If y'all gonna take somebody to jail, don't call me, right? Like, and so I don't care what the situation is. Well, we had that brew and we had that deal. It went good for about maybe a year and a half, about a year, because I was only with him for like 17 months then. So about a year, and he's going good. Hey, you know, I'm able to show up to a guy's house and say, hey, man, listen, you know, you can let me help you or you can run to them. I'm not the police, brother, right? But the police got this new initiative to where they want the community to deal with the community and remove law enforcement, if you will, to solve for the community issues. But if we can't get these issues resolved, then the police gonna have to get them resolved. Then somebody going to jail. So imagine you got a nephew or something who out here in the streets, and on a Sunday morning, man, a guy or two guys and three police officers show up. Two guys talking about, man, yeah, we just did time in prison. And they got three officers with them. It's like, man, we coming to see your nephew and he's not going to jail today, bro. We want to offer him some help. Well, yeah, it works, right? But what ended up happening is they allocate. I'm not no dummy. I got common sense. When I see you take your money and see a program from social services to where you start putting money towards prosecution, I know we going with this. I ain't signing up for that, right? So now I see the smoke. I ain't got to wait to try to identify where the fire at. I'm gone, right? And so that's what. So through that piece, we was doing what we called a ceasefire call-in, right? And with the ceasefire call-in, it was mandatory for everybody who was on probation and parole. And so what would happen is the judge, so law enforcement would identify a high impact player, right? So the police would be like, yeah, we believe dog was wanted for 2 unsolved murders or shootings, right? But we ain't got no evidence against him. But we want him to know that we know who he is. And we know he on probation or parole. So they were going to get a letter, right? Police and embedded Michigan Department of Corrections agent would go write the letter to the judge to get it amended to this guy's probation or parole for that one particular day that they identified. And what they would do is they would bring in, right? They would hurdle a group of men into this room and have a one-way conversation, not a two-way conversation. So it's not a conversation. Conversation go 2 ways.
It's having a monologue,
right?
A dialogue.
Right, exactly, right. And it's like, listen, I'm gonna tell you that if you don't do this, then I'm gonna lock you up.
Right.
If your mama got a warrant and you do something, I'm taking her to jail too, even if I can't take you to jail.
Right.
And so then my moral compass is like, nah, bro, I can't. This ain't shit I agree to.
Yeah, I attended one of them ceasefires. You remember what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
We talked about it. Yeah. And U.S. Attorney was in there. Mayor Duggan was in there. James Craig was in there. Chrysler Corporation. So I'm going to go ahead.
Right,
I listen to it, right.
Yeah, so when we going through that process, I'm like, man, and so I'm the one that's still talking to the guys, and I'm the one that's in the hood with these guys.
Right.
And they like, bro, we fuck with you. But that piece right there, and then I never forget when the guy told me this, right? Because I took psychology when I went to school, right? I was going to school for mental health. And I remember my psychology professor told me, he said, if you ever want to see anybody, you can make anybody bipolar. All you have to do is give them an inconsistent relationship.
Say that one more time for clarity, brother.
Right. So
I want to hear that, man.
So when I was in psychology,
right,
my psychology professor told me, you can make anybody bipolar. All you have to do is give them an inconsistent relationship that they love. Right.
Love.
And so if I love you and you're inconsistent in my life, so you got a husband and a wife. Husband come in from work, wife can cook him dinner, he eat the dinner and then smack her, throw her down the stairs, and then run down the stairs, say, hey, baby, come on. I'm about to fix you dessert. She like, damn, dog, like, right? Like you cook, I cook for you, kiss me, you beat me up, put me down the stairs, come back down. Now we about to fix dessert, and then you talking about you're gonna help me with my wounds. Well, that right there is just like make anybody, any sane person go insane, right? And so being in and out of their lives. And so with that, like I said, I always had common sense. And so when I'm hearing guys saying, yo, Ray or Red, like, bro, like, we respect the hell out of you. But like, we don't respect them, man. They bring us in and they tell us you ain't got no choice. If you don't come, you're going to jail. Right. So that's the order, because it's a violation of your probation or your parole because the judge amended it for that reason.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So that's the trick bag.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, when guys get to telling me that, I had to self-reflect. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, they said, man, we'll take you, but we don't want the baggage that you come with. And then when I seen them shift human resources to prosecution resources, my partner at the time, Doc, he attended a ceasefire call, and he told me, he said, the only thing I got out of this was what you talked about, brother. He said, man, you need to sit down. And when me and him sat down, he and I sat down, he wanted to know more about me and the work that I was doing and my contribution to ceasefire. Well, just like us, he was like, bro, listen, I'm starting this new hospital-based program. I said, I already know. Y'all came and pulled data from us, from Ceasefire Detroit Youth Violence Prevention Initiative. He like, yeah. He like, you think that'll be something you're interested in? He said, we ain't got started. I ain't did my first patient. You know, we come in together, man, and build this thing out, because he had the science. He didn't have the practical. Right. So he like, man, together, bro, we Shaq and Kobe. We can get as many rings as we want. Mm-hmm. When I'm telling him how I'm doing hospital response with the police, mm-hmm. he just like, oh my God, what if, can you imagine if you was doing it on your own? I'm like, hell yeah, I can imagine me doing it on my own. I want to do it on my own now. So we co-founded, it was the first state's first hospital-based program. And so what we would do is anybody who is violently injured, shooting, stabbing, or intentional assault, within 72 hours, rush to their bedside. We would call that the golden moment, mm-hmm. right? And it was research-based, multidisciplinary approach. So we got mental health services, substance use services, mentoring services, right? Every human service that you would encompass, from employment to housing to all this, right? And so what I would find is we was focused on trauma recidivism, repeat injury, because it was a report published in the early 80s, right? In a peer journal, talking about chronic recidivism mm-hmm. in hospitals for shooting victims, stabbing victims, and assault victims. And so when they did the case study, they showed that, hey, Detroit, you in the city of Detroit, you have a 44% re-injury rate within the 2 to 5 years of a person's injury. 44%. 44%.
Here in Washington County is 85%.
See, look, right, you're right. See, yeah, no. See, but this is real, right? And so that's the science, and that's the predictability of it, mm-hmm. right? And so that's what we did. And so over the course of 5 years, 8 months of just really being embedded, right now, again, I thank God for my wife, because can I do 100 hours in a week? And she's like, yeah. So I took that, but I started having conversations with these guys, these young women who had been violently injured. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I would ask, and a lot of people didn't even know I asked this question, is, are you afraid to go back because the shooter or the person who shot you is still out there? And 70% of the time, that was the case. And I'm like, damn, who gonna follow you to the streets? Mm-hmm. Who gonna keep you safe? You gonna pick that blick up to protect you, or you gonna stay in the house because you don't want to be outside. We dealing with trauma. We dealing with PTSD, right? We dealing with toxic stress. We dealing with your safety being interrupted. Right. For anybody who's been traditionally comfortable being safe, to have your safety interrupted, that puts you at a whole different level of the game. It's like, man, what the hell just happened, right? So asking these questions, and again, we had no affiliation and or connection to law enforcement. The only relationship that law enforcement had to DLive was Ray Winans, right? And so going through this process, and I'm dealing with this, and I'm tugging morally, like, bro, do I sit here and keep hanging my head on having the best hospital-based violence intervention program? Because around the country, literally, everybody who had a hospital-based or who currently have a hospital-based violence intervention program put their money on DLive as their horse to ride. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, everybody around the country, when I'm talking to our national partners, and I asked an honest question one day, and I'll never forget, it was to one of our, to our parent organization on the national level, the HAVI, the Healing Alliance for Violence Intervention. And we was just having a real dialogue, because, you know, people get in your ear sometimes when you want them to. Right. They said, Ray, you it. And I'm talking about funders, everybody. Mm-hmm. Ray, it's you that we putting our money on. It's you. And I'm like, okay. And so through that process, I asked myself, I said, man, what do you want to do? Like, what do you really want to do? Do you want to continue to hang this hat on this? And so when I asked them, the HAVI, if you had to pick one organization I say, somebody's going to give you $1 billion in cash for the work.
Mhm.
But they told you got to give us your premier organization. You only get to pick one organization. What organization y'all picking? It was like, Ray, we taking y'all all day.
Right.
Because you had 2 charismatic leaders, myself and a young Black doctor.
Mhm.
So you got a doctor from the streets and a doctor from the streets working together. Right? It's like, yo, this guy understand, right, how to stitch a guy up, sew him up, right, and right. Ray know how to grab a guy, talk to him, take him to the hood, vet him, validate him, and say, yo, you good. So it's like, we got this thing in the lock. It was a juggernaut. But what I realized was morally that I'm banking on people being shot.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like my safety and security and and everything with me is predicated on people being shot.
So you're working yourself out of business. I'm not trying to be funny.
Right. Yeah. And so, right. Exactly. Right.
You working yourself out of business.
And that's where for me, but what you just did is you nailed it. And that's why we say we vibe. Because here's what my reality became. Right. Dog, you care about your people in the hood and you tired of motherfuckers being shot. Right. Your partner is a surgeon. The more people that get shot, right? The hospital is a for-profit company. Right. I'm like, okay, hold on, right? And so I'm trying to figure out what he's saying. I'm like, hold on, wait. So it's like, and I keep saying, and I find myself saying this to the funders. But it was not, and again, this is no indictment against my partner. No, we're talking about a moral compass and the signs and symbols of when you know it's time to leave. But we was on the phone with Steve and Connie Ballmer, the owners of the Los Angeles Clippers, right? And they're talking to us about giving us money. And this is when I realized that it was time for me to really set out on a new journey. Connie Ballmer, right, Steve's wife, asked me and my partner a question. She said, how long can a person stay in y'all program? Me and him had 2 different numbers. I was saying anywhere from 6 to 12 months. My partner saying anywhere from 12 to 24 months. I'm like, okay, so we not speaking the same language no more, right? One. Then I remember I made the statement to Connie Ballmer. She said, where do y'all see yourselves in 10 years? My partner had a response, and my response was so bold that it literally changed my life. I said, if we're around in 10 years, should nobody be funding us?
Say that, bro.
I said, if we're right. I said, I want folks to really hear what you're saying. I said, if we're around in 10 years, we the damn problem.
Okay. Right.
Should nobody be funding no organization, especially when you're talking about people lives. Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right. And you're talking about people who saying, oh, I'm an expert. So if I'm still around talking about, man, people still getting shot, numbers still going up, I'm not the person y'all need to be giving money to. We're not the people. We're the wrong individuals. Y'all just trust and believe in us. Right? Y'all feeding the beast. If you're giving us money 10 years after we done been in existence and we ain't seen the impact of the results. Because you done gave us a whole damn generation.
We got organizations running around here, been functioning. Anyway,
we got organizations from when I was a kid, and they was on my list still around right now in the D. And I'm saying, damn, y'all ain't even help me. So you think y'all gonna help my nephew who's trying to go down and say, no, man, come on. Bro, so
that's pimping on a whole nother level.
It is. It is.
Whole corner hustling, man.
For real. And they locking every corner up quick. Exactly. In all neighborhoods and bitch doing landing spots. And that's one of the things. So I was trained and educated, right? So I'm part of a network called Be Me, Black Male Engagement. Shout out to the CEO, Travian Shorters. Deal with asset framing. So it all started for me with the language because I always thought I was an at-risk youth, right? Because that's what the organization has told me. Yeah, we deal with at-risk youth and I'm in your program, so I got to be one of the at-risk youth in your program. And I remember Travian talking about asset framing and say, let's stop identifying and defining people by their deficits.
Okay.
Right?
Expound on that a little bit.
So if I made a past mistake or if I created a past crime, right? Most people will call me a returning citizen.
Okay.
Right? So now I have a label as a returning citizen. So I'm always reminded, and people know when they dealing with me, I'm what? A returning citizen. So now you're dealing with a convicted felon.
Right.
Right? So be careful, or don't trust them, or minimize them, or marginalize them, right? Because
I get that.
now,
I get that.
right.
Yeah,
and so if I identify you as a phenomenal husband, as a phenomenal father,
right,
as a future broadcast journalist, right now I'm defining you by your aspirations.
Okay.
Now I'm putting you in a network in a position for people to understand your goals and your aspirations to support that. But if I define you by your deficits, I'm putting you in a position to where people got to put up walls and limit your accessibility.
Okay.
And so in asset framing, it's like stop mislabeling people. Why am I calling a person at-risk anything? Right? I'm not at risk. I got high transformative potential.
Okay.
If you invest in me, I can show you some shit we can get done. But if you're defining me by my failures, you're going to always have that over me to where you can always have a cap on me and minimize because I don't feel worthy of. Right? And so if I can make you feel as though as a convicted felon, you better be lucky you got this job.
Come on. Yeah.
For me, it's like, shit, you better be lucky that I'm accepting the opportunity to allow you to work with me.
Come on.
Two totally different lenses. Right? And so we're going to address it totally different. And that was the thing in this body of work when we're talking about this community-based violence intervention work. I realized that I had to make a decision. My decision was in the best interest of me and my people, the people that I represent. I'm from the ghetto. I'm knowing that I know if a guy out here who's willing to shoot because he's frustrated, angry, broke, or whatever the situation is, I can provide a beacon of light in his darkness. Right? Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can show him that something is possible outside of the life that he's living. And so that was the decision that I made. It was probably the toughest decision I made, especially when you invested in something. You don't just walk away. But for me, it was like, let's set out and start something new. Because traditionally, Ray Winers was set up in 6 to 12 months, get a game and be done. Right? Going back to what we was just talking about when I told y'all, like, hey, in Ipsy, man, listen, I'm honored that y'all would embrace me and say, Ray, come on, we accept some information from you, right? And some education from you. I told y'all, man, this ain't my city, man. I ain't down here to take no shine, brother. I want to see y'all shine. This ain't about me. Because I don't know where to start at in Ipsy, right? If I had to go straight boots on the ground, I'm beyond that. I've had the time. It ain't no different from a guy coming to the city of Detroit. People come to the city of Detroit talking about, man, we here to help build y'all capacity. I say, no, the hell y'all ain't. No, the hell you ain't.
I get so many people, Ray, from coming to me. I want to help. I'm here to help. And folks wonder, they look at me, Bryan, why you racist? You hate people. I know what's going on. I've been around here long enough to see this hustle.
Right.
Exactly. Like, no, you ain't here to help. I get that time. Man, how can we help? Cat just got shot the other day. They wanted to marshal out and go run out there. How can we help? Y'all don't sit y'all
ass down for real.
Seriously.
You want me to tell you how you can help? Go and get shot so you can have experience. So now you know there wasn't shit you can do until you got shot, goddamn.
Right. I'm serious. How can we need to go? I'm in a group text and all of them sitting up here there. We need to do something. That shows me that you don't know what you're doing. Anyway,
I be asking people, no, though, Bryan, no, like let's talk about it though, because I ask people all the time, especially like my white friends. I mean, man, you ready to share, give up a little bit of your privilege, man? Like equity is a real thing, and equity is something that, and I'm not going to ever apologize about it because this is what I believe. When we talk about Black folks, and I hear young Black men, here's what I have to. This is the reality that I'm faced with, and it don't necessarily have to be their reality. Right. But we talking about the information and shared experience and exposure. I tell them, I say, bruh, we're in America. Like, let's call a duck a duck. We're in America. We're the first group of people that have been brought in from all over the globe to a foreign land, enslaved, forced to build that country, and we still reside on that land. What the fuck you talking about freedom? Like, I mean, like, let's be real. Like, I mean, like, how the hell you, if I brought you over here as a slave and you still over here, right. Yeah, make your way, but you still gonna be. So we keep talking, man. I'm like, man, look, man, the American on this shirt.
Yeah.
They talking about Tony loved the American dream.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the movie Scarface, if that was the American dream, we seen nothing but violence and destruction.
Right.
But Tony, so we seen the American dream. Right. My buddies who come in from other countries and make the United States of America home, all have pretty much told me the same thing in different words. Ray, this is a consumer's country.
Exactly.
We ain't got to do nothing but land here, make $1, and then we got generational wealth. The first dollar we make, all we're gonna do is repeat that cycle. And I used, and so today, here's what happened with me, Bryan. I went to the gas station, I put some gas in the truck. I put $100 in. It only took 96. I go in to get my $4 and change, and then I see something else that I needed to, or I felt like I needed to buy with the $4 and change. Right. So I spent enough. And as I'm walking out the door, I say, damn, big time consumer. This is what they're talking about.
Number one, they wasn't selling gasoline anyway. They were selling the $4.
Right.
Because they ain't know when you look at the tax and the markup on the gasoline straight up down. But they hope you come and get you some zoom.
Because that's them concessions. Them concessions is in the money.
Right, exactly. That's what hustle at.
It is.
And they done escalated and elevated so much that they start putting liquor and alcohol into a gas station.
Yeah, it's for real.
Yeah.
But in our but they intentionally and strategically put it to where our ghetto children can access it.
Yes.
When my wife and I lived in West Bloomfield, man, you talking about a big difference. I went from having to worry about me and Negroes to where I stopped being worried about Negroes and having to worry about the skunks and the deers. Right?
You instead of worrying about somebody that car parked
right, exactly. I'm like, exactly, right.
Okay,
and so I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is a different environment.
Okay. All right.
But it gave me a different level of peace. And I'm like, wow, okay, I ain't know life can be like this peaceful, right? Even in the midst of the work, violence prevention work is chaotic.
Yes, it is.
And you have to be able to be sane in an insane environment.
Yeah, my father, who's still with us, right? Still with me right now, with all of us right now. He get on me all the time, man. You get what I'm saying? You out there, you gotta get some time for yourself. You get what I'm saying? Ain't no peace, it ain't no rest in this thing.
It ain't
no days off, no hours off, nothing. You know, so I'm
you can't, brother. You can't. Me and my wife was just talking about that. I said, babe, we're gonna need a 2-week vacation. She said, you're gonna go insane.
Yeah. I
said, no. I said, what I'm gonna have to do is just set the whole organization down for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just know that my team's straight. It ain't nothing I can do for the streets right now until I get back. If the world blows up in the 2 weeks that I'm on vacation, then it was meant for the world to blow up. And I spent my last 2 weeks the right way, peacefully with my queen. You know, and so that's why I'm at. We gotta find a healthy balance, because toxic stress is real, man. You know, and the stuff that we see, we can't unsee. So when I'm even showing a presentation, I'm showing these gruesome pictures. I can't unsee the images. I tell people all the time, man, nobody considers the relapse prevention for frontline workers, credible messengers, or folks that's even doing this work. You know, in order for me to be in the trenches, I have to understand the culture of the trenches and know how to survive.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when I'm on the block, I tell guys all the time, I pose the question, right? And I'm serious about it though. I've learned to where if I see a striker coming down the block and the back window down, I ain't trying to figure out who car that is. Right. I'm getting between them damn houses and getting the fuck on. Right? Yeah. Like I'm gone, right? I'm not waiting, right? Like I ain't gotta wait.
Who is that?
Right? Who is that? Right? It's a striker coming, right? But if you got people who don't know and they thinking they coming out here to do violence, and they say, "Oh, that's a nice car," and they you like, "Oh."
See, that's the difference between being in the game and around the game.
Right?
You try to be something that you ain't, and
right?
And you got aired out,
right? And then you looking at me talking about, "Oh man," and then your people mad talking about, "Well, they left with you."
Yeah.
Why you ain't injured? Well, they was curious talking about the car was pretty. Yeah. I seen the back window rolling down and the front windows are still up.
Yeah, I ain't trying to investigate.
I ain't trying to investigate. I'm trying to get on. You know, so it won't be an investigation on my body.
Right.
Exactly. you feel me?
Yeah.
And so like in that, I tell people, I'm throwing you in the deep end. I got to. Because if you can't swim, I'm knowing you ain't for me. You can't be for my team if you can't swim in the deep end. Because any given moment, man, I had a situation, man, and I'm talking about I had to deal with it in a way that my team, like, what the hell? How the hell that happened? You got 4 people shot. Mm-hmm. It was 4 people shot. 2 of them was murdered. 2 was murdered. So it was 4 shot, 2 was murdered. The shooter ended up at the hospital with the victim after he just killed 2 of the victim's family members. Mm-hmm. Nobody ain't in handcuffs because the police don't know that the shooter is the one that did all this. Dude know it. And so now you got the father. You got the husband whose wife was murdered, right? It was dude's stepfather. He wanted to know what the hell happened to his wife. Right. You got the police and the hospitals there trying to say, oh man, wait, hold on. We gonna let, I'm a husband. Mm-hmm. I say, dog need answers. Right. If he don't get these answers, shit, it might not be no hospital. Right. Yeah. Well, I gotta pull him to the side, like, come here, y'all. I say, we gotta let dog know something. He want to talk to his son. The least we can do is let that man talk to his son to figure out what the hell going on. The police got a job to do. The hospital got a job to do. The police don't run the hospital, man. Right. When I told him that, he like, your response was, damn, Ray, you're right. Let's make a decision as a team today to let this husband talk to this son so he can figure out what happened to his wife. And going there, when they got the information that he needed, on his way out, I was like, man, I didn't know what to offer this brother. So I gave him the only thing that I knew that I would want somebody to offer me. And it was just a hug. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, can I just give you a hug, bro, before you leave? And he's like, yeah. And he allowed me to give him a hug. Then I offered him prayer. He let me. So I hugged him and gave him and prayed for him. And he left. Fast forward, the young man who was shot, who lost his mother and his grandfather, he and I are still in contact. This man just told me I changed his life. What was that, about 3 weeks ago, baby? He said, Ray, you changed my life, bro. And I say, how the hell I changed your life? He said, you changed my life because you stayed consistent with checking on me, and you didn't come in there with no guard, no, pretty much no watered down bullshit. You told me, bro, I don't know what the fuck that happened. I don't know how you sitting up in this hospital, bro. I commend you. I appreciate you. I love you and I respect you. But if a nigga would have murdered my mama and my granddaddy, and would have been in the same hospital that I was in, I would have just needed to get my hands on him. And the rest would have been history. If I could have just touched him. It ain't enough police and enough hospital staff to stop me from doing what I would have did to that man if he would have came into my house and killed my mother and my grandfather and shot me. He said, man, that changed my life. The boy married now. Okay. He ain't drinking. He doing good. But here's the thing, Bryan, that he did. You see why my wife over there smiling? You know what this man said? He said, Ray, I forgive the guy that killed my mom and my granddaddy, dog. Thank you. What? You forgive the guy who shot you, killed your mother and your grandfather. But here's what he offered me next, Bryan. He said, Ray, anywhere you need me to show up at, I show up and tell my story. He said, I learned to tell my story without breaking down now, bro. This ain't even been 3 years. Bryan, this ain't even been 3 years ago. So in a 36-month incident, in less than about 36 months, his whole mindset had been transformed. For me, we saved the world with that one. Yes, you did. Could you imagine a man walking around holding shame, guilt, embarrassment, and anger and frustration and unforgiveness to somebody who murdered his mother, his grandfather shot him? All it would have took was the wrong person to bump him, and then their ass be dead. All it took was the wrong. You see what I'm saying?
I know exactly. Thank you for sharing that, brother. All it takes for one person to get back and say, man, we need to go get this. We need to go slide, and we need to do it now.
For
the
real.
wrong person. So the effectiveness of Ray Winans and his organization is that when you can get to him right then, and you said it straight up and down, a hug.
Yeah.
And that's one of the principles in a 12-step program that I am, that people don't understand. We welcome and greet whoever you are with a hug coming in and hug coming out.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a term of endearment.
Unconditional love, you know. Ear to the Ground 197, I have in the studio, as I said before, the phenomenal, prolific. And those are terms that's used normally when you're trying to hype somebody up. But I'm looking at the comments in here, and they're scrolling by it too fast. You're touching some folks out here right now.
That's God, bro.
You know, I know.
You know,
I know. And so Ray Winans, who started out founder of D-Live and Ceasefire, has elevated on to now Detroit Friends and Family. Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy's Sweet Touch Productions. Tracy, you was asking about a lot of these trinkets around here, right? Tracy made these.
Yeah,
and all this and stuff like that.
Tracy got a gift.
Sister. Yeah, she got a gift, and she's out here right now. Tracy's Sweet Touch Productions, as well as Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located right here in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti, right across the street from the public library, owned by my good friend Carlos Franklin, his lovely wife Andrea Franklin, Kip and Athena Johnson, songstress right there, you know. And so we want to give our shout out to our sponsors out there who support us very well. Also, it's brought to you by Ipsy Can I Share. That's how I was sharing with you on the back.
Yeah, that's
right
dope,
there.
man.
Ipsy
I
Can
love that.
Share? Yeah. Well, I was telling you about our empowerment cards, you know what, hey. And that's the importance of knowing who your elected officials, and you was just really touching on that, understanding what people stand for and what they founded on, those principles that are on, right? Because you peep that game immediately. Your foundation is on redeeming or restitution. It's on prosecution, locking up. It's a dollar bill on there.
Yeah.
And that's why I roll with Derek Jackson the way that I roll with.
Man, that's
got
no
no problem.
And then y'all got some hell of, listen, y'all got a hell of a lineup out here in Ipsy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I know. See, and then we got Ellie Savage.
I know, and Victoria. Listen, man, listen.
Go ahead.
Listen,
bro,
listen. I'm gonna tell you though, Brian. Listen, y'all got a man.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you, man. Listen, man, y'all got it.
But see, brother, we got it. And I try to separate Ear to the Ground 197. And you see all those Ypsilanti what you call it, certificates, office and stuff like that, from who I am as Supreme Felon, which I'm the general manager, because I don't ever want to get those titles crossed to thinking that this is Supreme Felon's platform.
Right.
You feel what I'm
No,
saying?
that's real.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, you got to walk that fine line, but you're wise enough to know it.
Yeah, thank you. So, but we got that lineup out there, but that street credibility and that connection to be that conduit between those two so that we can reduce this crime, violence, and stuff like that, right? That's the importance of having a lineup the way they do, and the street team that Supreme Felons is.
Man, y'all ecosystem, and y'all, and it's a wealthy county.
See, we the third or the fourth richest county and one of the richest state in America, the automobile home of the world, Detroit, Michigan.
Yep.
And we resource rich. But as rich as we are in our resources, you know, here in Ypsilanti, in the Ypsilanti area, man, and we just as treacherous, if you will, as in Detroit.
I know.
We are a microcosm of a macrocosm. And in some places, man, it's more dangerous here than it is in Ypsilanti because there's more of the population is greater. You hear about a lot more things happening on a minute school, but the shit happened just hears it out there.
I know because because it's so proximate.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing that so when I look at Ipsy, so it's kind of like my partners who was from Jersey and Florida while we was over at the Airbnb. When we was talking about Ipsy and how small Ipsy is, when I don't know if you recall, when I was like, bro, Ipsy is going to be the model and a framework for the rest of the country,
Yeah.
right? Because Ipsy has something that's so uniquely different. So people go for the big stuff, right? Oh man, I want to go and help a Detroit out. Or I want to do LA, right? All these national models and all this old crock of garbage. And it's like, no, the thing that makes Ipsy different is Ipsy is small. You have the rich resources, and then you have the street and sweet connections, your ecosystem. So it's just all about making a decision.
Right. Okay.
If folks make a decision here in Ipsy and say, you know what, we're going to trust the process of the individuals that know this shit, that live this shit, and we're going to give them 3 years. Just say, hypothetically. We give y'all 3 years to figure it out without being so crucially y'all behind y'all mistakes, because it's mistakes in anything you do, right? We're going to give y'all 3 years to ramp up, adjust, and modify, right? And we're going to
ramp up,
adjust, and modify,
okay,
right? What that does is it gives you your research, your evaluation, your protocols, your processes, and all the data that you need to show how you got this issue resolved, right? It was a lot of people. Y'all had a homicide down here.
Yeah,
it was on social media. It's viral. Everybody around the world seen it, right? Like that's not normal.
I was right up the street when it went down.
Right? Yeah.
I on the scene. Because I'm like, go ahead, bro.
No. So and so it's because I was on FaceTime at the time that it happened on my way here. Right. And so I'm on FaceTime with a couple of brothers, and they like, oh my God, right? So I'm like, so by the time we got here, they had just pronounced the young man dead. But just having conversations around it, tell people, so, people don't always have opinions, but here's what I always ask. Tell me one thing a person can do outside of being a direct threat to your life that can justify you killing them. But here's what we also learn from it. And not just in that situation, but so many situations with these shootings and these murders. Words hurt. People that lied to us all our lives, talking about sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. God is my witness. I had a broken bone. My wrist was broken. 2 different places. I don't remember my wrist being broken. Outside of my wrist being broken, like I know I had a cast on my shit, but I don't remember the pain. Right? I think about it all. It didn't stagnate my growth. It didn't make me want to hurt people. It didn't make me feel less than. It didn't make me feel inadequate. But some of the shit that people said to me as a kid made me, I still remember.
I understand.
It hurt me. It stagnated a lot of my growth. Right? It made me not believe in myself in a lot of things because I'm a kid hearing this shit from trusted adults. So people who I look up to. Words hurt more than bullets, sticks, and stones sometimes. And so what we seen in that unfortunate situation was the power of words that the young man displayed, and we seen the hurt of the words that the other young man displayed. I personally, I don't know them guys, so I'm not trying to overstep my boundaries, but I don't believe them brothers hated each other. I believe that the words that was used caused hurt and pain, which ultimately led to a reaction. Right? You had people, and again, I respect the culture and the cultural norms and the expectations on whatever the culture is. But here's what I teach in my guys and my body of work. If I find out you're an instigator, I hold you to a whole different level of punitive discipline than I do the individuals that actually perform the act. That folks that instigate and light the fires is the ones that get away with everything because they ain't did nothing but instigate and got somebody fucked up. But I ain't the one that did it. We easily say that was their decision. But we made a decision when we decided to instigate and keep adding fuel to a fire. So if a fire is on its way to being put out and I throw some gasoline on that fire, do I blame the gasoline or do I blame the individual that put the gasoline on the fire? The gasoline ain't say, hey, throw me on there. I made a decision to throw gasoline on that fire. We have to get to the point in our community of being able to shape our norms and expectations. I don't tell guys what they can and can't do in my facilities. Here's the norms and expectations that we're going to adhere to. And so if you can't deal with the cultural norms and expectations, this ain't for you. Hit you with this one. Did a block party on my block, Loretto. Got DPD out the Detroit Police Department and a metal detectors, right? So I had a couple guys, right, man, you got police, man, and a metal detectors out there, man. Yeah, man, I ain't coming to that block party. I said, bro, I ain't worried about you coming to the block party. This block party ain't for you if you can't come. Like I'm doing this shit for the hood, for the babies. Right. I care about kids being safe. Right. So if metal detectors and the police gonna deter you from coming to the block party, this wasn't a block party for you. That block party was lit, wasn't it, baby? Them babies had a good time. My wife and my mother felt comfortable. I was out there with no shoes on, with my socks kicking it, watching them babies play with the dunk tanks, the bounce houses, everything. Them babies had a good time. So I liked the process, and it was 100% safe. So guess what? It was so good that the police department said, man, y'all could do this every week. We ain't gonna do it every week, but we're gonna do it every month. And we're gonna do that same formula. Why? Because it works. And want me to tell you what's gonna happen? It's gonna social signal to the rest of the hoods in the city. Bro, get with Ray, bro. They know how to throw a block party. Like I told my guys, right? Because I'm an older guy compared to a lot of these young guys. Bro, in my hood, a kid can be a kid and be safe. So speak. Right? No, like for real. So I identified my 5-block radius. Right. From my childhood. These 5 blocks is the blocks that we're gonna make sure. I'm gonna start with the 5. So when we open up our business, anybody who come over there and shop, know first 5 blocks you good in. It ain't because we dangerous and that, but because the community understands and appreciates and respect us and love us enough to where it's, man, that's random shit, bro. We don't do that over here. These 5 blocks over here, we taking care of. So the other 5 blocks will be able to pick it up and say, you know what, we want the same framework, we want the same model. Right? We have to set the tone and the standard. We can't get caught up in a criminal mentality. Here's what happens, Bryan. A person to say, you brought up AA and NA, right?
Without even using the term, you know
exactly,
what I'm talking about.
Right? Right. So now, if I'm a former criminal and I was out here shooting and selling drugs and stuff like that, and I decide I want to change my life and pay my debt to society or my community, because me going to prison ain't me paying the debt to society. That's the consequence of my action. Right. I don't get to take $10,000 from you as a loan and then come back and apologize for not having your money and say that's all the debt. Right. No, you apologize for not having my money on time, but I still want my money, my man. Exactly. Right? Yeah. So me going to prison for causing harm to somebody or destroying my community ain't me paying my debt to my community. It's me acknowledging I'm dealing with the consequences of breaking the law, but I still got to repair the relationship and the harm that was done to the individuals in society. Right. Right? Incarceration didn't take care of that. So if I come home, or when I come home and I make a decision and say, okay, now I'm no longer going to be involved in this lifestyle and I'm going to give back to the community. And then I start working with elected officials or government institutions and or education and finance institutions that work in community development and or violence prevention work. To whereas I have to be on the front line and dealing with individuals. Some of these individuals that I'm dealing with, I sold their mother's drugs while they was pregnant with this child, right? So I got a moral responsibility to this kid, right? Because this kid is part of the reason, my actions is part of the reason why this kid is labeled ADHD now, right? Or bipolar, and schizophrenic and all this, because this baby was born a drug addicted child. So now I'm gonna put myself back in this environment because I feel as though I'm strong enough to deal with it. Because I want to save lives because I feel bad. Now I come out here into this environment, but nobody prepared me for the relapse of this environment. They thinking I got it all together because I'm a professional. So now I found myself back in my natural habitat. It's certain things that's going to trigger me. In certain ways that I got to move. And it's like, damn, I wasn't moving like this before, because I was moving like this before I start transitioning into a new lifestyle and transforming my mindset. Now I got to go back to this old neighborhood with a new mindset and trying to take a new mindset and embed it into an old neighborhood. You got some old players that remember who you used to be. Like, bro, we don't want to hear that.
You can't put new wine in old skins, what the scripture said.
Exactly. Okay. Right? And so now How do the front line, the guys on the front line stay safe when nobody has that information or that education to give them to let them know, man, it's invisible bear traps when you come up there. Don't go that way, nephew. That's a real issue. Like I tell my guy, if I was selling drugs and I knew my auntie smoked crack, I wouldn't take a kilo of crack cocaine, put it in her house, tell her, auntie, this is a key right here. You don't touch it. I'm gone for 3 months and I'll be back and I expect that key. My auntie, I'll come back in. My auntie to my man, look, man, the police came in, bro. Look, man, the boys down the street. I can't be mad at her. She just straight up said, I smoked it. How? I knew what I was dealing with. How? I gave her triggers. Right. I put her in a risky situation. Right. And then I'm mad at her because she couldn't stand strong for 3 months. Well, you left her in a house with crack cocaine for 90 days unattended, and she just got out of a 12-step program in the last 90 days. Right. So which one you think is going to be more powerful? So when we look to vet guys in the work, and that's one of the things that I'm thankful and grateful about for Derek. It's like, Derek, no, we got to vet these guys, because if I tell you this guy's good and you done vetted me and I tell you and I vouch for this, then you're going to hold me accountable for that. Right. It's like, no, bro, I need to test guys. I need to see you. Come on. Yeah. I can't just vouch for you, man. Let me see you. Yeah. And once I see you, I know what I'm dealing with. And I say, okay, I'll never forget, man, I heard a quote by the minister Louis Farrakhan, and this was one of the foundations of my body of work. And I never will lose this principle. The minister Louis Farrakhan said, how can I help you unless I see your true self? So I create the environment, and we have to create the environment with our young people to where they can be their true and authentic self, so we know how to show up.
That's right. That's right. You know, there's a lot of people want to be down with this, but you ain't built for this. You ain't cut for this. And number one, we can't trust you, like you say, because you're not your authentic self. Right. And then you become a liability and not an asset to the mission. You can get us all fucked up out here.
Quick fact, you're going to get us fucked up.
Right.
The wrong word. Yeah. And not understanding the language.
Right. And that's what I try to get these folks to understand. These, and I'm gonna say it, these young white and these white females who got these master's degree in social work, who got that white savior syndrome. They want to come in and have you, them is the worst. That's the greatest liability to our community I've ever seen in my life. And people get mad at me because I call them out for that.
Listen, man, let them get mad. I tell people all the time, man, I be damned. Not on Ray Winer's watch. If I'm alive and free, ain't no white woman lead no violence prevention work in the city of Detroit and thinking I'm gonna just sit back here and say, oh, okay. No, they gonna find out that Ray in this one, because here's how, like I tell guys all the time, bro, this is, first of all, in this work in our community, you don't even know the driving forces behind it. You don't even know, you don't know what's driving it, right? People can assume all types of things.
You done spent 6 years up at Eastern Michigan University and think you understand this.
Here's the thing, you take a guy out the hood, right? And here's what I tell him, you want to do this work? If you think a white woman gonna do this work, here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna bring your ass straight to the hood. After we establish the relationship, I'm gonna put your ass on the block with the guys. I know they ain't gonna hurt you. No, they ain't gonna harm you, but I'm gonna leave your ass right there for about 2 hours, especially if your phone about to die. I might leave your phone in the damn car. Leave your ass right there for 2 hours. Tell the guys, man, go on, be your authentic self, man. Because guess what? When you tell guys, bro, listen, and then look, here's the one, right? So like they want to play with me, right? Like don't get me started with mumble with shit. Because look, I hit a motherfucker with some shits, right? We be out there, man. Oh, you think you about to leave? Oh, come on, leave your ass on the block. And then I tell them, man, fair game. Yeah. We walk off. Them guys like, man, come here, baby. She, come here. Let me holler at you. Look, man, hold on. Oh, you thought you was our case manager, or you thought you was our executive there? Girl, we wanted some. Come here. Now she, what the fuck? Ray, these guys are being rude and disrespectful. No, this their natural environment. You wanted to see the culture and you wanted to experience it.
And now they done call a case. And that's when we got cats up in the juvenile facing exactly what you just said.
That's my point. Yeah. That's my point. I just had a lady at the restaurant yesterday tried to act like she was about to cry. I said, don't start that shit. That's what I told her. I said, everything was good up until it was time to solve for this issue and this bill, and then you thought you was about to horse me. Right. I ain't going for it. We was at Roof Chris, my partner's birthday. Okay. And everybody told me, like, man, that restaurant racist and all. I said, man, I don't know about all that. I said, but my experience yesterday, I said, here's what I realized. 2 things that happened. They realized that we all ain't the same. And they also realized that everybody ain't going. Because if they try to tell me what I was going to say, listen, you're not about to hold me hostage. in no damn restaurant. I'm paying for me, my wife, and my partner. You done told me, I done told you, break out the phone, tally me, because you got to tally everything up. Man, this woman said, it's $75 for this, $18 gratuity, 6% sales tax, 3%. I say, whoa, it should be. I say, I tell you what, here's your money. She said, no, you take it. That's your money. Give it to the guy. I said, I ain't taking nothing else. Here's your money. Went to the general manager, get talking to him. He going, man, I apologize. It normally don't be like this. I said, why you ain't corrected, my guy? Right. You apologizing. Why didn't you correct it? It's the cultural norms. If I sit back and I know you do something that don't register or go against my moral compass, and I'm in leadership and or fellowship, I'm gonna let you know, but I can't do that. Right. I don't care. I can't do it. It don't register with me morally. Follow your moral compass. You're good. When you follow that moral compass, you good. You follow that spiritual compass, you good. My wife and I pray every single day, Bryan. Been married almost 10 years. But you want me to tell you, one of the ministers told us when we got married, pray together. And the elder Wayne told me, he said, man, if it was easy, everybody be doing it, right? He said, just pray. That's the thing to keep us. And then I have to explain to young guys too. I got one goal. My motive for making it home every night, man, is my 3-year-old grandson. Because for me, I'm like, bro, shit. Man, my wife and kids can't do nothing with that 3-year-old, man. He gravitate to his pawpaw. So I understand how big his spirit is big. He a free, independent thinker. You can't do, he don't want you doing, he want to experience himself. Me and him talk like how we kicking it right now. Right. See, they talk baby talk. They talk baby talk to him. See,
I got a nephew like that. Yeah. And my mama out here listening. You get what I mean? And I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for real. But my great nephew like that. But my 3-year-old grandson, man, I'm like, bruh, I ain't about to let nobody Nipsey hustle me out here. Right. I'm like, you can't Nipsey me. I'm gonna make it home because I can't imagine that 3-year-old baby waking up, wanting to talk to his pawpaw, and they talking about pawpaw going to heaven. You ain't gonna never see him because the nigga that took him out. Come on. No, dog, I'm not going like that. Not like that. And this is what this work consists of. And I tell people, bro, I risked my life, literally. I done jumped in front of guns. I done had to stand in front of 2 guys with guns and tell the guy who was the victim, bro, trust me. He like, how? He gonna shoot me in the back of the head if I turn my back. I said, in order for him to shoot you in the back of the head, he got to get past me. Okay. And had this guy trust me to walk in front of me to get to the room, trust me to be in the middle, and then I trust the guy who behind the 2 of us not to pull the gun and blow dog brains out. Right. That's a different level of commitment to get into the room with these guys and then sit down and deal with the solution. And then come back out to the greater audience of guys who know all the shit and lay down the law. This issue is resolved. And so with this issue resolved, here's who we looking at as the opportunists or the instigators. Anybody who continue to talk about this situation after my voice has been heard. So if we talk about this shit again, that means that you the one that really want to see bullshit happening in the community. Come on. Right? Yep. Because you can't tell me that you're a criminal. You can't tell me you're a street guy. When you was in the streets, at least for me, when you was in the streets, if you committed a crime or you did something wrong, you left the crime alone. You take that same mindset, right? As far as them principles, you put on a new way of thinking, create new opportunities and say, listen, if I took a life, I'm responsible for saving 100 lives. The same way I was callous in taking that life, I have to be that determined on saving lives, right? I don't mind dying for one of these young guys, bro, for the right thing. That's easy. That's easy for me. I'm going to die for the right thing, but I ain't just going to sit up here and just die for the wrong thing or go out for no damn shout outs and no RIPs on no damn social media. Come on, get your face on the right? T-shirt. Like for real. Like I ain't trying to be Insta famous like that. I don't want Ray Gang or no gang. Right. But if I'm in a situation and it calls for me to lay down my life, because I've had people ask me, Ray, you ain't scared of it? I said, what's the worst gonna happen? Somebody gonna come up to me, Ray, you know what? You a positive nigga, man. So for that, we gonna kill you. Right. I said, bro, I done died on purpose then, right? I done died on purpose. Right. Like I done died on purpose. Yeah. I say, bro, I ain't no threat to you. Right. I come in love, peace. So what you gonna do to me? Mm-hmm. Especially when we get to talking, you like, damn, Unky, man, you really is one of us. You just changed. Right. Now let me show y'all the game. Because the shit that they gave us, that ain't it. Right. It's a different way. And I'm telling you, I never knew, Bryan, this part of my living, bro, in life, I didn't know life can be like this, man. Yes, sir. I didn't know you can help people, man, and really genuinely give your all to people and still be okay. For me, it was scarcity coming up. Coming out them projects, everything's scarce. You get 2 pieces of candy, you put one in your pocket, put the other one in your mouth. I ain't got no more candy. I ain't got no more candy. Right. You don't go in your pocket and you don't carry your 2 pieces of candy in your hand to your friend's house, and there's 5 of them over there, because guess what? Everybody gonna want a piece. We kids, somebody will take and bite that thing and give you the other piece. In life, the older you get and the more you experience, you realize, man, shit, I can give you 2 pieces of candy and I ain't gotta have none. I ain't worried about this damn candy. Yeah. I know where the candy at. Right. All true. All true. Right, exactly. Yeah. You know what? We listen to Ray Wine, founder of Detroit Friends and Family, also co-founder of Ceasefire Initiative, as well as D-Live. Y'all probably seen Ray over here messing with my stuff on my. Leave don't let people touch my stuff on my. Hey, man. And you know what? I'm gonna make sure I put your husband. He done took the stuff off my closet and put it on the table. But the reason why he touched that because he said that's how he functioned. He said that earlier that he has that hourglass. You know what I mean? But I think you like that, man, because it got the color sand. Got that black sand in there, man. But this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do this in respect to Tracy Davis. She normally makes our guest gifts. So you take that hourglass with you with the black sand on it. I'm gonna find another one. You sure? I'm positive, brother. Man, thank you. I see you like my stuff. You know what I mean? You let people touch my stuff. You don't touch stuff on the table, you know what I mean? But you take that with you. Okay, and it's in good hands. And he said he functioned from that on 30 minutes. If he's seen it, he turned it every single time. You know? Ray, I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. I appreciate your knowledge. And I know we're working together. You feel what I'm saying? Supreme Fellows Incorporated was just announced. I was aware of it, that we received a $1.2 million grant. Congratulations. So we got that to do this work in the community. And I know that we as an organization, we can't do it by ourselves. That's real. And we know that. Right. So we know that we're working with Derek, Jerry, Ellie, Victoria, and the likes of, and other groups in here. And with yourself as you coming down here doing the training. So you said something very, very prolific. Ypsilanti is small enough that it will become a model right here, Ypsilanti, for other communities to learn how to bring it into this wanton, senseless violence. And you just laid it out on here. So brother, I am going to, I'm not gonna hold y'all up. You get what I'm saying? That siren that went off indicated first of it every time and what have you. And I want to thank all my viewers from out there. Y'all got a treat this morning. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I put it this time. I was sharing with Ray that a lot of times this YouTube feed don't be up and working. Man, it's rolling today. So that's a beautiful thing that we got this recorded, and you got Rock back there recording everything. Rock the man. Yeah, I called Rock this morning. Yeah. He was like, bro, I'm on it. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. But he believed in what we're doing, and Rock got a hell of a testimony. Yeah. And they out here, let me say, they out here saying thank you and all this kind of stuff. Oh, wow. I'm serious out here. No, I'm going to go on Facebook and check out. Listen, and I appreciate you though, Bryan. Like I said, let me say this, man. Go ahead and say about Rock. Okay. But so with Rock, Rock gonna teach me how to record. Okay. Because I'm gonna get his ass on camera. Okay. Man got a powerful testimony. He done dropped some gems. I'm gonna respect it because he said it. He said it not even knowing that I'm listening, right? But I respected it. But he a wealth of information. Okay. He not just a camera guy, man. He collects stories, but wait till we see his story on camera. I'm gonna get Rock ass on camera.
Get him on camera,
right? Because
put him on this camera.
Yeah,
right here.
You over there. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, because Rock got a hell of a testimony, man. Like for real. And I done heard him intimately a couple times, and I'm like, damn, bro, wise beyond his years. Right. But I'm like, I'm gonna be patient because everybody go at things at their own pace. But even with you, brother, I appreciate you inviting me out. I mean, like you instantly, you like, yo, Ray, I need you on the show Saturday, but it ain't no pressure though. But I mean, you know, you can come down this Saturday though. You know what I'm saying? You here, right? You're like 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So Ray, you here? And I'm like, you're like, but no pressure. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna be there because I felt your spirit and I felt your heart, but also felt your commitment. And I felt your humbleness and your discipline. I'm like, yo, this is a wise man, right? And your truth, because you didn't allow what could have been, like Billy made a response.
I know what you're talking
and then,
about.
Right. And he was like, no, hell no. And I'm like, damn, I'm like, so dog ain't into the accolades. I'm like, okay, he my kind of guy. If you notice, I cross my legs. I say, okay, now we cooking with fish grease. You know, so I appreciate you, man, and everything that y'all doing, man. Shout out to Derek, Eli, Victoria, right? Like, I didn't know that I have a second home in Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know, like, I'm really feeling the Ipsy vibe, and I'm feeling the wave, man. And it's because of y'all. I mean, y'all open up doors. Like I said, I'm here to support. I don't know y'all community. It ain't nothing that I'm trying, like, it ain't that, you know, because I know how I felt when guys came into our shit. And I'm like, bro, like, you ain't never bought a kid an ice cream. Right. In this neighborhood. So how the hell you back to act like you about to save somebody or you gotta so we gotta go.
More Scientific America Incorporated 2 weeks ago gave away some free tennis shoes, right? And this brother showed up who heard what they was doing, man. And this brother, he don't even know, and this is what he said: I'm here to bring the community together. And I had to text back, but if you don't go sit your because right, I mean, he was a member of Motor Scientific America. He just happened to take advantage of the opportunity, and he thought he knew the solutions to our community.
And it's like, bro, you don't know.
Yeah, you know, you said something the other day too, and I'm gonna get out of the way. You shared something with me and stayed with me. You said you territorial.
Yeah. Oh, very.
Yeah, I'm very territorial too. And a lot of folks come over here to help. Right, and they don't understand what I be saying. No, man, that nigga gonna say, you know, I'm going to straight them down. Yeah, because I understand. I'm from here, right? Yeah, and that's why we territorial. Because I done seen 100,000 y'all come and go. Right, create these programs so you can get a grant. You get 50 young people up in here to sign up, get their name on, so you can get your $50,000 grant, and we do it all over again. I know the hustle, and listen, lady, I know the hustle.
Listen, can't come into the neighborhood.
Yeah. Can't find them after 5 o'clock.
Can't come and listen. Yeah. Listen, ain't gonna find them. Man, you saying 5? Shit, try 3. When they got the quote unquote power. Listen, I'll never forget real quick. When we first doing C5, they talking about Ray, here's your office. Man, I looked at that office. You remember they gave me an office downtown. Man, I say, no, you want me to tell you my office ended up being 6 Mile and Grass? Okay. I said, I function better in the trenches. Right. Man, my guy. When I was doing hospital work, they gave me the big, pretty office in there. Man, I felt so sweet. And I was, one of my guys came up and said, man, I don't like coming up here. I feel like I'm talking to you while you at work, like you in the office. We used to you being on the block. All my intakes, prior to me transitioning to the suites, 80% at minimum, 80% of my intakes and assessments was done right there, smack on the block. Right. Pull right on the block, sit down, kick it with a guy. Even if it's in his mama home anywhere, on the block, I got to get with all his homeboys, right? All her homegirls. Sometimes I got to sit in the house and be like, damn, auntie, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, but I ain't scared of roaches. Right. I'm scared of mice. I'm like, damn, auntie, there's some mouse over there. I don't mess with them. Right. And they talking about nobody do. Right. But like, you ain't gonna see them lily white women jump on there. No. Act like they don't see it and try to leave or try to grab their purse. And it's like, no, kill it. It's a road. Yeah. So appreciate you, Bryan, man. I'm gonna do right by this glass too, man.
Yeah, right. Okay. Ear to the Ground 197 is broadcast live every Saturday at 11 o'clock on YouTube Live and Facebook Live. We got to record it. I got to hear my new friend, my brother, Ray Wyans of Detroit Friends and Family. Ray, you got any last words you want to give, anything like that before we sign out? You know what have you?
Yeah.
You know?
If for the folks in Ipsy that's listening, man, like seriously, y'all got a beautiful city. Y'all got some beautiful folks in this city, man. And I'm gonna tell you this. With the decision that guys like yourself, Billy, right, Derek, even Trey's, right, like Trey, like this young man, these guys want something different. People have a right to experience freedom, peace, love, forgiveness, and happiness. And we got to operate from that, right? Like, we got to think about these future generations, especially here in Ipsy, because y'all town is so small. We can't afford for the babies to inherit shit that their parents know that they really didn't want them to inherit because the parents are no longer here now. So when you got a parent that's incarcerated or a parent that has been a victim of violence, you can't convince me that that child or that parent want their child to go down that same path that they went down, right? Like my father didn't want me to be a street dude. If my father would have been around, right? He got murdered when I was 9. If he would have been around, ain't no way in hell I would have been off into the streets. He wouldn't allow me to. Right. He didn't want that for himself, but that was his choice and his way of living. So we got to make sure that we create an environment that's all inclusive of everybody in order for these babies to be safe. And when I'm saying all inclusive, I'm not talking about from a race lens, but I'm talking about from a societal lens and institutional lens. Okay. Right? The prosecutor's office, the county, the city, right? The sheriffs, all these things, the supreme felons, all these things have to be in your ecosystem, man. Because we get dealing with one thing. We dealing with other human beings. Right. That's it. Damn all that. If we was all naked, we wouldn't in no organizations, we'd still be able to adjust. Okay. Damn the organizational titles, the power titles and all that. And let's just treat each other decent. And I believe Ipsy, no doubt about it, and I said it and I will continue to say it, and I've been saying it and I told Derek that, is going to have a model that everybody is going to be able to say, damn, we can comprehend that model. We want it.
All right. You heard the word. That's Ray Wyans. Tune in next week. We're going to have State Representative Yusef Rabi on the show. And as always, here to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Productions. Also, Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located right across the street from the city, Ypsilanti Public Library. And with that, my motto is, you know who this is, my theme, so I want you to check it out when you get out here. Okay. Her name is Alicia Reynolds, right? You ever
look? I ain't here.
Y'all ever heard of the Dramatics?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? You ever heard of L.J. Reynolds?
Yep.
Check this out right here. All power to the people. Check this song out. This is my jam right here. We'll check it out. We got. We see y'all next week and we'll let it ride out with you, right? Okay. Yeah, back to they made that song free. 190.
Wow.
Yeah. Check out the lyrics. More power to the people. 197. That's LJ's lyrics.
Really?
Man. Yeah.
Power to the people. More power to the people.
Check me out in the background.
You gotta give it.
More power to the people.
So you done had to make a song for you?
Yeah.
You're a hell of a marketer, man.
Yeah, that's what I do, man.
So you gotta organize yourself.
Yeah.
Talk to me with me, baby.
Right out that way to the left. Let's let you right.